What's up, everybody? This is Phil.
This is Taylor.
And this is Homebrew at the Movies. And we are going to be talking about one X-Men movie per week leading up to X-Men Dark Phoenix. Because Taylor really likes Sophie Turner.
I really do like Sophie Turner.
So this week we watched the first X-Men movie.
We did.
X-Men 2000, as we wrote in our notes. It's probably just called X-Men, though.
I did X-Men 1.
Was it a little question mark? But before we get into how we feel about the first X-Men movie, we're going to talk about a little bit of our history with the X-Men movie franchise. This will be all of them, including Deadpool and Deadpool 2. Mm-hmm. Also, a thing we forgot to talk about, so we're going to do this on air so that way, everything's out in the open. Apparently, New Mutants is still going to be a thing. I thought they were canceling that.
I don't even know what that is, but I saw it recently, and I saw that Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be in it. Macy Williams. Do you know who those people are?
Nope, right over my head.
Okay, well, Macy is in Game of Thrones with Sophie Turner, and Anya was in the Witch movie that you fell asleep in.
Oh, the Vivitch.
Yeah, the Vivitch.
The Vivitch, okay.
And also in a Hosier music video.
Oh, all right, Hosier.
Fun facts.
Cool.
Hozier.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing we're going to be doing is as we watch these, we're going to rank them against each other in the series. That way we can kind of make a little absolutely definitive, scientifically proven list of which X-Men movie is the best and which one is the worst.
But we don't get to place them until after we've watched them.
Right. So, to warm us up a little bit, we've taken the movies that we know we've seen and we've ranked them against each other. And we're going to talk about our little personal rankings right now. Personally, with these movies, I saw the first four as they came out. I was, let's see here. I think I was like 7 when the first one came out. And then that was the coolest movie I'd ever seen.
That was X-Men, right? The first one?
X-Men 2K.
X-Men
it was
1?
1? That's what they said on the poster.
Yeah. We're not sure if there's going to be one or more. Might be a sequel,
I don't know.
Maybe it's less than 1. X-Men
0.
X-Men 0.7. Yeah.
I remember. Okay, so after I saw the first movie, I went to the store with my dad, and I walked up to little needle hands on the auto doors.
Oh, I know. That's so cute.
And then I saw 2 and 3 in theaters as they came out, and I saw Origins, and I was like, this franchise might not be going great places. Mm-hmm. And then I saw the Deadpools; those are good. And then I think I saw one that I think I saw First Class, and I kind of vivitched and fell asleep a little bit.
I grew up on superhero movies because my dad loved them, but I really, they're so vague to me now. Yeah. It's been so long since I've seen pretty much most of them. But I definitely saw all 3 of the first X-Men. Yeah. But I really only remember Jean Grey's meltdown in the 3rd one. Yeah. Good old Ellen Page.
Femke Jansen. Jensen?
Jensen?
It's Femke. I don't know.
I don't know. Sorry. And I remember Ellen Page.
Yeah, but she's not here until 3.
Is she in the second one?
She might be in 2.
I thought isn't she Kitty Pryde?
Well, Kitty Pryde gets recast a couple times, but yes, she is.
Oh, okay. So she's one of the
because Kitty Pryde was also in the first one.
Yeah, it's like a short redhead, right? I was like, that's not Ellen Page.
Not
Give
yet.
me my Ellen Page.
Turning into Ellen Page, much like the mutant gene, comes out during puberty and times of high stress.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
So one of these days, it might also become
Someday
Ellen Page.
I'd love to come out as Ellen Page. There's some layers to that. So I think I saw those 3, and then I saw First Class.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
Yeah?
I really...
Is that the one with Kevin Bacon as the bad guy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I was at the cabin, actually.
Oh.
Or something. And I was like in and out of it, but I was watching it and I just hated it.
Yeah.
I thought the acting was really bad.
Yeah.
And the script was bad.
Oh, I saw Days of Future Past also.
You did?
I liked that one. Yeah.
That's the Wolverine timey-wimey one, right?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah.
The Deadpools are great. I loved the Deadpools. Yeah. First one was awesome. Second one was still pretty good. Yeah.
All right. So give me your definitive ranking of the X-Men that you've seen so far.
Okay. So I've seen 5 of them.
Yes. Give me your 1 through 5.
Can we do 5 through 1?
Yes.
Okay. Number 5 is X-Men First Class.
Nice.
It will go lower. Number 4 is X-Men 1.
I have some say in that.
Number 4 was X-Men 1. Number 3 was X-Men 2. I forgot I saw X-Men 3. But I don't remember it well enough to place it.
Asterisk somewhere.
Asterisk.
It's around
above first class.
It's between like 3 and 5.
It's between 3 and 5. Number 2 was Deadpool 2, and number 1 was Deadpool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
How about yours?
Okay, so I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go 1 through 12 because I like to give credit where credit's due. Number 1, I put at Deadpool, just because I think
credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't give Deadpool enough credit. So
You're
I
right.
think what Deadpool was trying to do.
What's the build up to the number 1?
Well, I like to do it the other way. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No credit where no credit's due. So we'll.
All right,
we'll
Phil.
get
Just you do your thing.
Well, I'm trying. So I think Deadpool did great things as far as trying to get a decent origin story out and work in a universe that has already had a lot of like messing with it.
I agree. I mean, it also had the benefit of being able to break the fourth wall.
Oh,
which I think just honestly, allows it a lot more than most other movies.
And speaking of a universe that's been messed with a lot, my number 2 is Days of Future Past.
Oh.
Because I think other than the Deadpools, that's the best one they have. But I also don't know if that's very good because I haven't seen it since it came out.
I'm sure it's terrible.
2014, 15, somewhere around there. Hold on. I have a cheat sheet. 2014, May 23rd to be specific. Number 3 is Deadpool 2. I liked it a lot. It just was more of the like same. You know what I mean? And like that's not in a bad way. It just was more of it.
Yeah. I think that was my vibe as well. Yeah. It was just like it was like the same movie.
Yeah. Number 4 I have is X-Men 2, X-Men United. I'm sorry, X2 X-Men United, because I think the name changed a lot during production. Because it was X-Men 2 and then X2 and then X2 X-Men United. And the GameCube game was called X2 X-Men United Wolverine.
There was a GameCube game?
Mm-hmm. Huh. It was fine. There's a trend with this franchise, by the way.
Oh.
Number 5 is X-Men. Number 6, X-Men Last Stand. Number 7-ish is First Class. And number 12 is X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Phil, I think did you skip?
Yes, but I know where that movie belongs.
All right. I can't wait to watch it.
I absolutely can wait as long as we can. So we got about a month.
I'll watch it for you. We got about a month?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. And then just be like, yeah, no, I remember when you watched that scene. It was great. Mm-hmm. Okay, so X-Men.
So we're just going to go over essentially the summary of it, and then we're going to break it down a little bit, what we thought scene by scene, and then towards the end we'll give our final thoughts, ratings, and our placement on the list, which is going to be really difficult.
Yeah, it has a lot going for it and against it right now compared with the rest of
it. It could be one or... It could be top or bottom. It could
Honestly,
also be both.
Go either way. Yeah,
it could be both at the same time, too.
Yeah, it might just fall right in the middle.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
X-Men came out July 14th, 2000. Mm-hmm. Directed by Bryan Singer. He did Usual Suspects.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I appreciate that you researched that, though.
Yeah.
$75 million budget, right?
$75 million went into this movie. For reference, Daredevil in 2003 had the same exact budget of $75 million.
How was that movie? I don't think I ever saw it.
It's not
good.
Fine.
Oh, no, it's not fine.
Not good. So there's a scene, segue. So there's a scene, Jennifer Garner plays Elektra, obviously, and Ben Affleck plays
maybe
Daredevil.
I did see this movie.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I liked everything when I was however old.
I probably loved it, but I saw it recently. It does not...
I'm sorry.
I'm not even going to say holds up. It's just not good. So there's a scene where Jennifer Garner walks in and Matt Murdock, played by Ben Affleck, is like, oh, I really dig this girl's scent. Right?
Scent.
Yeah. Which, said aloud, is a weird thing to say. So he
was
goes
it
up
not
to her.
said aloud?
No, it was. That's why it's weird. So he goes up to her and he's like, hey, I like your scent. And she's like, don't talk to me. And leaves.
Yeah.
You know, which is her God-given right.
The understandable response.
Yeah. So then he follows her. Right? And then she's like, oh, you're blind. And he's like, yeah. And goes to reach for her hand and she pulls away. And she's like, hey, I'm cool. And then like he goes for her other hand. And she's like, no. And starts to walk away. Grabs her hip. Twists it back. Yeah. And then they start having a kung fu fight in a playground.
What?
Yeah. Now, see, here's the thing is we know Jennifer Garner's character is good at fighting because she holds her own. Anyone else looking at this sees a girl fighting a blind guy. Which, no matter which way that fight goes, is bad. Yeah. You either just lost to a blind guy or
someone's
beat up
calling
a blind
the cops
guy.
Either way.
Yeah.
Why? I'm sure there's more context. No? Okay.
Not really.
I'm glad I don't remember this movie.
Yeah.
How was the series? Was that good? Daredevil's
on
show?
Netflix?
Yeah. It got canceled, didn't it?
It did, but every Marvel thing is getting canceled because it's going to Disney Plus.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. It's actually really good.
I heard that.
Season one's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, see, each season does a Netflix thing where in the middle it's like, we could cut these episodes. You know what I mean? I think if they had made them all like 8 episodes instead of 12, it'd be a fantastic series.
Okay.
But each season kind of dips a little bit.
Anyway,
back
to
what we're actually
X-Men.
talking about. Yeah. Had a budget of $75 million, just like Daredevil. I have a story
Which
about that.
we don't think is very much in comparison, right?
See, here's the thing. I don't think it's very much.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, which came out in 2002, the first Sam Raimi one.
135 million?
139 million.
Yes.
Yeah, so give or take a couple million.
Which is only $1 million less than
Iron
Man.
from 2008.
Only $1 million.
However, $75 million for the budget had a box office of $296 million.
I guess people liked it.
Yeah. 7-year-old Phil probably saw this 3 times and helped out a lot to that. You know what I mean?
Those 3.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Those $30 really went to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we get into story summary, first impressions, what'd you think?
Oh, we're doing first impression now.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
It was sure.
See, it's weird because it's a movie I'm not upset I watched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, because this was, I think, Sunday morning I busted it out. Right? And it took roughly 1 hour, 44 minutes if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'd say about that long.
Yeah.
I watched it last night, so.
Yeah.
I don't procrastinate.
But
now it's fresh.
Yeah, so you're going to be helping me out through this a lot. But
no.
like, I wasn't like, oh man, I could be doing anything else. I was like, oh yeah, this movie. You know what I mean?
There were scenes where I could have skipped.
Sure.
Overall, I did enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
Most, like, honestly, probably a lot for the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
And I loved just a lot of the actors in general.
There were so many scenes where I was like, oh, I forgot about this.
Uh-huh.
And then I watched it and I was like,
oh. I did.
There's a scene at the end where, oh, by the way, spoilers, we're going to be talking about this entire movie.
Yeah.
So,
spoiler alert.
So yeah, if you haven't seen X-Men, you should honestly go check it out.
Yeah, watch it.
Yeah, that's right.
You guys can borrow the DVD if you want.
Yeah, just you got to come get it from her.
Subscribe and we'll send you it.
We have a 1 subscriber special. So there's a scene at the end where Sabretooth and Wolverine are fighting on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh god, that Sabretooth death scene.
And he throws him. And he sticks out his claw. I'm sorry, Wolverine sticks out his claws, catches the edge of the statue's crown, and rotates around it, but it takes like 45 seconds, and then spins up, lands, and then hard cuts into not CGI anymore. I remember loving that scene. And I remember, like, Sunday, I was like, ooh, boy.
Ooh,
that did not age well.
No. The whole, like, there were so many cringy moments. Dialogue, action sequences. Sabretooth is, like, flying out of his death scene.
Yeah.
It was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Okay, so I love most of the casting. I think Halle Berry was a good choice, but could have been done a lot better.
I think that she was hindered by the writing.
Yeah.
And directing.
Well, she also didn't do anything, and then had really bad lines, and then had an accent for 4 scenes. And that's it.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
I was like, when first time she spoke, I was like, I forgot Storm had an accent for this.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, so did Halle Berry.
Yep. But like from frame 1, Hugh Jackman had it. Like I loved him immediately.
I think his hair is funny, but other than that,
well, yeah. He has a weird like little. Is it called a bouffant? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
It's.
I don't know.
There's a hairpiece called a bouffant.
You're right.
I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna say that's what he had
so
because it's
silly.
funny to say.
No, Hugh Jackman. I was like, yeah, Wolverine could get it. I was like, yeah.
That when they're talking about the cage match, and he's like, all right, don't hit him in the balls. And he's like, you said anything goes. And he goes, it does, but he'll take it personal. I was like, that's an awesome line.
It was good. There were some really good. It's just there was such a contrast of good and cringe.
Yeah, and I like.
Ian McKellen goes. He says, "You Homo sapiens." He says,
"You Homo sapiens."
You Homo. I wrote down cringe. I was just
so there's
terrible.
There's a line I had remembered and always use as my Ian McKellen like voice like to guide it there, and it is not in the movie like I thought it was. So in the first scene, I'm sorry, one of the first scenes where Jean Grey's given that presentation about mutants, and then Patrick Stewart rolls out and Ian McKellen's walking away, and he's like, "What are you reading here, Charles?" And he's like, "I'm looking for hope." I always thought he said, "There's no hope here, Charles," and that's that always what I use.
Guiding light to Ian McKellen.
It is not in that movie. And then at the end, they're talking again, and he says hope, and I'm like, "Oh, it's right here." And he goes, "We'll see one day." And I'm like, "No, you're supposed to say there's no hope here, Charles."
I know. Somebody messed up the version. The beginning gave me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Honestly. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen just have such an amazing chemistry.
Oh, for sure.
And are just such talented actors that I was like, damn, this is going to be so good. And like, oh, look at that interaction. And then they barely interact for most of the movie, which I think is probably part of its downfalls. Do they in later movies? I guess we'll see.
Oh, for sure.
They like interact more development. Yeah. That'd be good. We ended up just doing a breakdown of scenes.
Out of order, though. So that works.
Out of order. Yeah. Should we do the summary?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
I mean, you saw it last night, so you take off, and I'll jump in what I think is
necessary. I'm going to need your help a lot. It starts off with these solid 2000s graphics.
Oh my god. Okay, so you know it's a 2000 movie immediately, because there's a mentor figure doing a voiceover, blurry title sequence,
and
there's moving way too fast to understand what's going on. It may be biology.
And there's just like little lightning bolts and electricity and static everywhere.
But before that, and most importantly, 20th Century Fox, right? It does a bum. And then as it fades out, the X doesn't for like a second longer. I saw that. Literally, my first note about the movie is holds on the X. Nice.
Freaking nice, dude. It's quality.
It's a good choice.
So it starts off with some Magneto backstory.
Mm-hmm. It goes straight to the Holocaust.
Yeah, no, I was like, shit, I forgot about this.
We go straight into 1944.
I was like, wow, I was not expecting this. It was pretty heavy to get straight into.
Yeah.
And it was like pretty, X-Men's or the directors and writers are like, blatant, this is symbolism for anti-Semitism and racism and classism. And I was like, cool. Not subtle, but I'll take it. I mean, I appreciate it. So we get Magneto's backstory, we get his mom being taken from him, and essentially him just being beat down, and the Homo sapiens.
The Homo
sapiens. Taking him down, and I don't know what happens to him after that. Do we get any backstory?
Oh, so remember he
I mean, like, does he go to like a home, a foster?
And then in the movie, I don't think they tell us.
Yeah.
I think in first class they talk about a little bit, if I remember right.
Gotcha. I guess we don't know until
we'll find out in
like
5 weeks. I don't know when that takes place.
Yeah, you guys probably know already. I don't.
Yeah.
So, it essentially flashes from that to Anna Paquin.
Do we go straight to Rogue from that?
I think we do.
Is it that, or is it the mutant meeting huddle, the like little Senate huddle up?
No, it's Anna Paquin because
it is. Is it Paquin? I always say Paquin.
I say like 5 different things.
Oh, okay.
Anna Paquin.
Anna Paquin.
Packin'. Yeah. Anna's packin'.
Yeah. Girl.
Go get your vampires, girl.
Girl.
And this whole time I was like, oh, Patrick Stewart. Ian McKellen. Oh, Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
And she like totally murks this boy.
Yeah.
That boy got.
Yeah. So I feel real bad for that guy. Cause I mean, paint the scene. Like they're talking about how it's going to happen after graduation. So they're seniors. So know what they're in her room alone to like start doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
she goes on for 45 minutes with a trip to Alaska, and he obviously does not care.
No, he just wants in those pants.
He's there to, see what Anna's packing. You know what I mean? And
Thank you. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, no problem. And then he's like, finally, let's do this.
Yeah.
They kiss. And then he goes in a coma for 3 weeks.
Yep, poor guy.
Yeah, that's going to give him so many trust issues going forward.
I know.
You know what I mean?
You never know when you're going to kiss a girl and you're going to fucking die.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she screams to her parents are like, what's going on? Murray. And it's like, what? Call somebody. You know what I mean?
She knew what she did too. Yeah. That was interesting to me as well. She was like, I don't know what happened. I did this. And I was like, I wouldn't think that I did it automatically. I would think that something like was happening with him.
I feel like if I was in a more rational state, I'd be like, I don't know what's going on with him. But if I feel like in the heat of the moment, I'd probably be like, what did I do? I kind of get that.
I don't, because like unless she's already like, the only way I could think of it being realistic is if like mutantism is prevalent already and like there's already been spikes of it around, which I think there have been,
it has to be,
right?
because they're having a giant Senate meeting about it.
Yeah. So I guess like maybe she has heard of it and then therefore was like, oh God, what did I do? Am I part of these people?
Well, see, here's my thing. You're making out with a girl, she starts crying. You're not like, what's wrong with her? You're like, what did I do?
Well, I think that's a little bit different than you make out with a guy and he starts dying.
If I was making out with a guy and he started dying, first off, flattered. Second, you call for your parents and say, what did I do? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I took issue with that, but that's minuscule. It's not.
Yeah, I feel like that could also go both ways, because it's one of those things where no matter how she reacted there, I'd be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Because even she was like, what's up with this boy? You know what I mean?
Like, what's going on? She didn't need to say stuff like, it's me. She could have been like, oh God, what's happening? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? What can I do? What's happening? Sort of
Maybe
thing.
She had like a pet ferret that we never talked about. You know what I mean? And
So this scene ends and we go straight to the Senate meeting after that, I believe. Okay. Yeah. And we see Dr. Jean Grey talking.
Yes.
About some mutants, talking about what's up with them. What?
Femke Johnson. Johnson? It's Femke.
Who?
That's the girl who plays Jean Grey.
Oh.
She was in GoldenEye.
I don't know what that is.
I
don't recognize. No.
The James Bond movie.
Oh, I really haven't watched like any James Bond movies.
All right, so we're gonna
stop
for
like the Daniel
Craig. James Bond.
I really don't want it. You can do that with Eric or Morgan.
No, let's keep doing X-Men.
All right.
There's got to be 30 of those, right? James Bond movies, because those are
so disinterested. Yeah, I've seen like one of the newer Daniel Craig ones.
Yeah,
and that's
Casino Royale is really good.
That's the one I saw, I think.
Yeah.
That was good. Anyway, this is Phil and Taylor's. What are we talking about?
Welcome back to Hot Takes. James Bond is less interesting to us than X-Men, so look at that.
I can't disagree with that. So they're having this whole Senate meeting, and Dr. Jean Grey is explaining what is up with the mutants, what's going on with them. I think she's explaining that the gene... the gene hits when...
The gray gene.
When they hit puberty is when their powers manifest. That's what she's explaining.
She says it's in puberty is when it manifests, and then also manifests during times of high emotional stress.
Yes. And she's just explaining like the science behind it, and then this freaking senator just starts piping his mouth up.
Hold on, he starts raising some valid points. If this movie was from a different perspective, I'd agree with him a lot. Where he's like, this girl can walk through walls. What stops him from walking to her homes or a bank vault?
And yeah, but just the way he talks just makes me so annoyed.
Yeah, he was politician about it, but like the stuff he was bringing up, I was like, that's a good point.
No, I mean, for sure.
Because he was like, there's people that can read our minds. What's to stop them from getting our bank numbers and our social security or like, our first pet's last name? You know what I mean?
In a situation like this, I don't know what we would do, but we can't you can't just hide these people away and lock them up.
No, there's better ways to go about it, but like I understand his concerns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except for when he says, why would the mutants be hiding?
That makes sense. Yeah. That part. When he's like, I just want to lock them up. Why are they hiding from me?
Why are they hiding?
Because you're trying to lock them up. And he's like, if they have nothing to hide, they should come out.
Maybe because genocide? I don't know.
Well, hot button topic called genocide.
Just a little something we like to call. So I had an issue with that. I was just annoyed by a lot of the acting in this part. It was just so it was so tropey and
as someone who's never seen anything on C-SPAN because I'm very educated, there was parts in that Senate hearing, right, where he'd be like,
I mean, that's reasonable now. Most of our politicians act like that
right
now, I guess.
But he's like, what's to stop them from walking into our schools, our homes, or bank vaults? And the crowd's like, ooh, house. Does that happen?
Nobody has any emotions in C-SPAN.
I was going to say, the reason why I don't watch it is you put it on, it's like, am I watching a textbook?
well, it's kind of interesting now because you have people who are actually passionate about it.
Now it's a season of Survivor when you watch. But
sometimes C-SPAN's pretty freaking lit, actually. I love me some good C-SPAN content, all right?
Anyway. So Ian McKellen walks out. Patrick Stewart rolls off after him, right?
Yeah. Well, basically, the scene ends with everyone being like, I agree with the senator. I'm scared. Fear is how I make all my decisions. So they're going to totally lock up all the mutants.
Oh, for sure.
That's what they want to do. And then, yeah, Patrick Stewart, because I can't call him anything other than his real name, follows Ian McKellen because he's like, oh, my old ex-boyfriend, he's here.
Like, hey. He's like, I look cute today. I'll see what he's up to.
Feeling cute. Might go see my old mutant ex-boyfriend, IDK. And that was a really good scene.
Oh, I love it. Anytime, especially when it's just them.
Oh, I could have the whole movie be just them. I'm hoping I get more of that in later movies. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. And that's specifically where he doesn't say, there's no hope here, Charles.
There's no hope here, Charles.
There's no hope here, Charles. But he's like, you're trying to get my head.
Fools.
And then Charles is like, I mean, kinda. And then he's like, what are you looking for? He says, hope. And he says, isn't like, if you want hope. What does he say? So he's like, I was looking for hope, and he's like, if you were looking for hope, wait until he says something like ominous.
Yeah, he's like, what are you hoping to find in there, Charles? Hope.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, it's so good.
It's not as good as there's no hope yet, Charles.
No, you're right. It's absolutely not. We can Google it real fast.
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Do we go there from there to Wolverine? To Alaska?
Is that where she goes?
It's either Alaska or Canada.
Does she end up going to Alaska?
Yeah. Well,
Interesting. That's quite the drive, man.
Yeah, well, she hitchhiked all the way up there. I don't know what her plan was. Do the X-Men have jurisdiction in Canada?
Do they have jurisdiction anywhere? Yeah. How is it outside of America, I wonder? In general.
It's fine. Yeah, they're just... There's just a bunch of Homo sapiens and muties running around together.
Nobody cares. Yeah, it does go straight to there because I said in my notes I put, oh, it's Jean Valjean's backstory. Great.
So as an aside, it always bothers me in the prologue song when he's like, you robbed a house. He's like, I stole a loaf of bread. And they're like, you tried to escape. That's all your problems are, right? And later on, he's like,
a window pane.
Yeah, that's breaking and entering, man.
Yeah, it is.
And then you stole a loaf of bread. And then you tried to escape from prison. Of course you're on lockdown.
Well, there's some issues of like bourgeoisie there and poverty that come into play. So I can't really blame the impoverished for rising up against their oppressors.
For sure.
You know?
I mean, the whole French Revolution kind of makes sense if you look about it.
I forgot.
But folks, that's not why we're here. So there's a cage.
You started this aside.
I know. So no, we don't start with the cage match. Okay, so a semi-truck pulls up. Rogue hops out.
Yes.
And she's like, I thought you were going to take me to,
I can't remember what it was
something
called.
city.
Laughlin or...
Yeah, Sarah McLachlan City. And then he's like, this is Sarah McLachlan City. And he like...
She said, we're not in the arms of an angel.
He just walks away from her. And then she gets out of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why I think we're in Alaska or Canada, is because he just leaves his truck unlocked. He just walks away.
That's actually valid.
Yeah.
Alaskans don't lock their cars.
Yeah.
So if you're ever looking to rob a car, go to Alaska.
Yeah.
I can vouch for them.
Yeah, pro tip.
Yep.
So she goes inside this little bar.
We don't condone this at the bottom of the screen.
So she goes in, there's a cage match going on, and he talks about there's the Wolverine, and then we see Hugh Jackman literally killing it from frame one.
He did really
so
well.
Good. Yeah.
Hugh Jackman is a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
We stand Hugh Jackman in this household.
There's a cool little fight where, he punches him in the head and hurts his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to punch each other, and then like he punches his hand, and like it doesn't shatter his hand, but like it looks like it should because there's like the bone cracking and like the rippling and stuff.
Yeah, it was real rough.
Is that scene, or am I thinking of something else? Where he like goes get punched, and then Wolverine like punches his hand.
I think that's
Is that scene?
I think that's that scene.
Okay.
And so he wins.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah, I'd say.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
and then heads up because he like gets hit in the head, and then the guy like screams.
Yes.
And then we cut to a bar where Rogue is like, I'll take another water. And the bartender walks away.
And then he moves the tip jar away.
Because she keeps like eyeing it.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's like, girl, if you don't.
This would be a good part where if we had paid attention to the currency there, we could tell you whether or not we're in Canada.
Oh. I saw American money.
Was it?
Must have been Alaska.
Must have been Alaska.
I can't think of a city that was named that in Alaska, though.
Yeah.
Because I know everything and everywhere in Alaska,
for sure.
apparently.
Yeah, no, you're my authority on it.
This is Alaska, according to Taylor.
Yeah. And then Wolverine rolls up and she sits down.
And then they hear something about mutants on the TV, and they both listen to it. Yeah. And then the guy who was fighting in the match comes up behind him and is like, you owe me some money. Which,
if you just got handed your lunch a minute ago, you know what I mean? Is that what the kids say? Hand your
even
lunch?
If you are accusing him of being a mutant, why would you try to fight him?
I don't understand what you were trying to gain there.
Because he was like, you owe me money or I'll tell...
He was just dirty cage fighting.
He was literally
under false pretenses. He's not going to be like, oh, my bad, here's your share. You know what I mean? No. You're going to get what you got. Which is a really cool intro to the fact that Wolverine has little, hand claws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that is what happens.
Yeah. But that scene where, like, the two come out and you're like, wait, I thought Wolverine had 3. And he does, and it comes out all slow and, like, it stops, like, right by his little Adam's apple.
Side note for when he freaking flips Cyclops off later with his friggin' claw. God. I didn't know what to think about that.
It is such a scene.
I really don't know.
I have a lot of thoughts about the Statue of Liberty scene, so I'm excited to get there with you.
Fantastic. Yeah. You can cover most of that because I was so bored the whole time.
Great.
That I think I zoned out a little bit. So... Anyway.
So the bartender comes up, puts a gun against his head, then cocks it. Why don't people cock guns when they're on the way up? You know what I mean? Like you always see those movies like a guy walks up in like a dirty attic.
It's supposed to seem like more intimidating or something, but like...
Yeah, but like the guy has hand
really
claws.
Impractical.
And you've been watching this guy just thrash people after people
in a cage fight. Get out of my bar, freak.
Get out of my bar, freak. I know what you are.
Get out of your own bar, dude. You have no...
You know what you don't have? The front half of your shotgun. Because that gets cut. Or his little spit mood, cuts his gun in half.
Leaves.
And pieces out, which is understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'd leave
Didn't
too.
pay his tab, just saying.
Wouldn't feel welcome there or anything. Yeah. Why stay? Yeah. So Rogue runs after him.
Yeah.
And I think hides out in his little camper.
Yeah. So there's that scene where he's driving, he looks back, there's a little like shuffle back there. So he pulls over and flips it. And then he's like, gotta get out of here. And she's like, where am I supposed to go? He goes,
I don't know.
He goes, I don't know.
You don't know or you don't care?
Pick one. Love it.
That was great. But then he's like, shit, I actually care.
I can't.
I do care. And so he stops and she runs. And I really I love the dynamic.
The next line, by the way, is when he goes, pick one, and starts walking away. She goes, I saved your life. And he goes, no, you didn't.
Yep. Yep, that's right. I love, it's like a little tropey, but I love the dynamic between them. I love the like hard, edgy, like lone wolf kind of dude, and then he takes in this like young stray essentially, and then they get like a little buddy system, and I love it.
Yeah. There's some scenes though where it feels like they're trying to make it sound a little more flirty, which bothers me.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Because she's like 15
it was never really
like 17,
overt.
Right?
Like, it wasn't enough that I was like, whoa, hey, pump the brakes. There was times where I was like, oh.
I really thought they were going to go for it.
There was a time where Jean Grey was like, she's taking a liking to you. And he's like, I forgot what he says, but it's something like kind of creepy where he's like, she's not my type or something. And I'm like, well,
good, because she's
literally quarter of your age. Because,
Well, I don't know how old Wolverine is.
I think every movie that they talk about his past, he gets older.
Okay. Because this one, she was like, we can't determine his age.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean...
Yeah, no, she didn't know his age, so I don't know how old he is, but I assume he is real old.
Oh, yeah.
Too old.
Yeah.
For this 17-year-old. Maybe 18.
Not too old for them to think that he should be flirting with Jean. If they flirt. I don't know what they do.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So they're driving. Tree comes down. Hits the tree. Shoots out of the windshield. Right?
Yep.
And then just drags across the ground for a while. And then sits up.
Is that when Wolverine flies out of the front window?
Yep.
That was so... I guffawed.
I'm sorry, you what?
I guffawed. Oh my god, it was like a ragdoll, like mannequin.
Just got pushed out. Yeah.
It was so funny. Oh, it was my favorite scene.
Yeah. So he sits up. It's all gnarly. There's like that the head gash. Mm-hmm. And then he looks at Rogue, and Rogue's like, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And it's like, you haven't tried anything yet.
I was like, did you press the button?
She like jiggles the handle. I don't think she pressed the button. I'm not
going
to lie to you. I think in the stress of it, she forgot about the safety clamp. Yeah.
I think she's...
And she's like flicking with it. And there's a part where she just stops.
Yep.
And then things catch on fire and she's like, well...
I guess this is it.
Guess that's it.
I'm dead.
Sabretooth is out there. They're throwing each other around, batting each other around. And then like the wind comes out. It gets all snowy. And you're like, oh man, there's a blizzard happening right here. Right?
That must be what it is.
No, Taylor.
Oh.
Storm and Cyclops roll up.
Oh.
Yeah. They didn't bring
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know. So, she comes up. Doesn't she just like blow him away?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he just gets
Does Cyclops do anything?
Well, yeah, but he gets Rogue out of the car with one well-placed concussive blast.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job, Scott.
Everybody passes out. It's great.
Of course his name is Scott.
Yeah, right. Scott Summers.
What?
They end up back at the mansion because sorry. So Wolverine is on the table. Mm-hmm. Jean Grey is like operating on him.
Yep.
And then sets the tray.
Yep.
Across from her, across the patient.
God.
Goes to the other side of him.
I hate this.
And like needs a syringe, so she like telekinesis it to herself.
But it takes her so much effort.
It takes her so much effort. And then later on, with the Statue of Liberty, he's like, "Toss me, Jean, stabilize me," and she's like, "I got this." You couldn't handle a syringe like 2 days ago.
Nope. She's practicing.
So like,
when her patients are in need.
I understand that you can pick things up with your mind. But maybe have things within arm's reach just in case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that was a small but irritating bit. It
was something where I was like, oh, that was cool. Wait.
No, the whole time I was like, why didn't... What? Okay. Sure. Okay. That set the tone for the whole movie for me, I think.
Yep. So he sits up, puts her in a chokehold, and then like... doesn't snap her neck, but she passes out, doesn't she? Or does he just like toss her down?
I think he just tosses her down because he like and she doesn't pass out. She's suffocating.
She's like, this isn't my moment. She's like, I'll let them have their fun.
Yep. And he's running, and Professor X is like talking
playing
in
Marco
his
Polo
brain.
with him. Yeah. Marco
Polo.
They see you see the leather suits they're gonna wear later on.
Yep.
And he gets a little Xavier hoodie out of it. He has a little school merch down there.
God. He's running through the school. We see a bunch of shitty little teenagers run around.
Yeah, they're doing the little mutant thing. Mm-hmm. And then he like goes into a room where it's him teaching like chemistry to like 4 kids.
No, it's 4 kids. Like 4 kids on Cartoon Network.
Sure.
Sorry. There's like a classroom setting, and it's like teaching. He says, I'm assuming it's like history of magic or something because it's like it's defense against the dark arts because
he's like, now go to your rooms and write 4 pages on vampires.
Lycanthropes. He literally says like,
oh, does he say lycanthrope?
Talk to me about lycanthrope principles.
Yeah.
As Wolverine walks in, I'm like,
Again,
I wonder why you...
Again,
that's not related, but sure. And he's like, hello, Logan, or something like that. Logan.
So all the kids leave, and then
short redhead,
a little girl
Ellen
forgets her backpack and goes back, but the door's already closing. What's going to happen? She goes right through it.
That's Ellen Page, but with short red hair, right?
It's Ellen Page before puberty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she had to have hit puberty because she had her powers.
Well, she could have just been emotionally stressed at that point. She just forgot her bag and the door was closing.
Oh, it was really
that freaks everybody
stressful.
out.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
So, anyways. He's like, hey, what up? We brought you here. And then he was like, cool, I'm gonna go. How's the girl? He's like, girl has friends now. Super cool.
She's loading.
Yeah. And then we get Scott, Storm, I don't know what her name. Oh, isn't it like Oloro? But it's not Oloro. I don't know her name. It's something. Aurora.
Is it?
Is it Aurora? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Storm comes in.
They don't call her by her name. Ever. Except for that one time.
Yeah, he says this is so-and-so. I think it's like Aurora or something.
The only reason I know the other ones is because Jean Grey is called Jean Grey.
Yeah, and then Scott, so it's Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I apologize, Storm. I'll know your name for the next review.
And then they all introduce each other. There's an awesome line where he's like, Cyclops, Storms, what's your name? Wheels?
Oh, he was like, but then he was like, this is stupid. And I was like, your name is Wolverine. What do you
It's
mean?
on a dog tag. It's official, okay?
I was so annoyed. I was like, you have no room to talk, my dude. No room.
And then,
I just saw a note from in here earlier. It said, Magneto looks so fly. Just...
that has to be when he was leaving, right? When he was in his little dapper suit.
Oh, yeah. I also... So, I have role-played a lot through my life, like on online forums and Tumblr and stuff like that. Just like writing with strangers, because that's what you do when you're 10.
Oh, of course, yep.
A guy online, for all those who know what the hell I'm talking about. And I was totally in multiple, like, mutant gifted boarding school role plays.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And they were awesome, and I kind of want to do it again.
What was your gift?
Oh, I had lots. I was probably some stupid, edgy little thing with, like, black wings and, like, powder. Kill someone with my kiss or something like that. Some rogue bullshit. But I just thought I'd interject there, because that's ridiculous. And I forgot that I did that until now. I said, and goddammit, I would do it again.
Did we missed a scene. We missed Magneto and his squad being introduced. Remember, because Sabretooth brings back the dog tags to the least comfortable office looking place.
Yeah. I think that's probably when I said Magneto looks so fly.
Oh, yeah, because he had that little, like, sweater on.
He's like, yeah, he's like a sweater.
Like khakis.
Turtleneck
sweater. He was just there to hang out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was like, you look stylish.
We have Ray Park as Toad. Is Ray Park the guy who played Darth Maul?
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. That's why there's that part in the Statue of Liberty, I think, where he picks up the thing and twirls around like Darth Maul did.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Okay, so Sabretooth comes back with the dog tags, and he brings it to Magneto, who's in just the least comfortable looking office.
Oh, yeah.
It's like metal chairs, and like there's those two like little.
Well, everything's metal because he
has
has to be aesthetic.
Yeah. And then we see Rogue in school for a couple scenes, I think, right? Because there's that part where like Storm bends over to write something, and
and then
like, hot.
One little shitter does the fire bending, and then one little shitter does the ice bending.
Well, that's Bobby. He's cool.
Bobby.
He
annoys me.
I love him.
He annoys the heck out of me.
I love Iceman in the comics, so I love him because he's playing Iceman. Okay. Also,
his name's Bobby, so he's just like a little shit.
He was like in a lot of Disney stuff, wasn't he?
I looked him up because he looked so damn familiar. He was in Cadet Kelly.
Oh, man!
Yep. So I'm assuming he was probably in a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. So Bobby starts putting the moves on Rogue. Because remember, he makes a little rose on her chest. Romance.
Oh, great.
And then I think we cut to the helicopter scene where...
That's right.
Yeah, Kelly gets in and he's like, man, mutants, am I right? And the guy's like, you're not right. I'm Mystique.
But before that happened, I was like, oh my God, is this dude a mutant? Like Senator Kelly. I was like, just the way he was talking, I was like, is he a mutant?
It's like overcompensating.
Just like, but then she changed back to Mystique. I was like, nope, the other dude was. Whoops.
So here's the thing, and I'm gonna bring this up now, a little bit later, and for the rest of this franchise, okay? Mystique dresses that guy, right? She flicks herself back to Mystique, clothes disappear.
Yeah.
So she can create matter.
I've heard you talk about this just in life before.
We will get back to this, but she creates clothes and flips out of them later.
So, yeah, we'll get back to this.
Okay.
Because
This is movies long, but I'm planting the seeds right now. Okay.
All right.
This is coming back.
Because my initial reaction would be she can just make it the clothes part of her body. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure
I understand why that's your initial reaction.
Yep.
We'll get back there.
But we'll get back to that. Yep. So then we go to the scene where Kelly is introduced to Magneto, I think.
Yeah, because she rolls back there, and then Kelly wakes up and sees a henchman, and then there's that Toad scene you love so much. If you want to talk about it.
Yep. So we see Sabretooth in the scene, and he goes, grr. Yeah. And we're supposed to be, like, intimidated or something.
Yeah, he goes,
yeah.
With, like, a really canned sound effect.
We see this creepy little Toad boy. It's freaking, like, sue you from My Hero Academia. You would understand that, but some of our viewers will. And then we hear a little bird.
Yeah, it was
a little bird
chirp.
On a tree branch, and we're like,
like,
oh, that's
dove. Yeah.
Cute. There's nothing bad and then
Toad eats
He
the bird
slurps them on up.
like a toad.
And
Eats
then,
the bird.
do you want to know what Senator Kelly's reaction was?
Tell me what it is, Taylor.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah. Like so over dramatic.
In this life or death situation where there are 4 people around who you've been slamming on national television for probably a decade. Mm-hmm. You're going to go, yuck.
Who you were just like literally kicked in the face. By the way, Mystique literally like
yeah, she chokes him and then like holds his head steady with her left foot and smacks him with her right foot
repeatedly. It was ridiculous.
There's that line where she's like, you know, people like you were the reason why I was afraid to go to school as a child.
Yep. I was like,
ooh.
They only gave that to her to give her something to say because I feel like she has no other damn lines in this whole movie. Basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, she has lines as other people, but yeah, that was like her Mystique line.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yuck.
Yeah. Can we just play that soundbite over every time I'm annoyed by something? Yeah. Because that's how I feel about a lot of this movie. So.
Magneto unveils his plan.
Which I don't really fully understand.
It's okay, so he has a machine that he uses magnetism to turn other people into mutants.
Sure. It releases radiation somehow.
Yeah. Which we'll find out later weakens him. Which we'll get back to, Taylor, don't worry.
Okay.
So he starts the process on Kelly. And he's like, you're going to be a mutant, dear boy. Or whatever he says.
Yeah.
And then they lock him up in a tower. And they give him 1 rose and they say when the last petal falls, if you haven't found love yet, you're going to turn into a giant water balloon. I have bad news. Ain't no one he loves coming to that tower.
Aww. Did you say a water balloon?
Yeah. And then we get the scene where Wolverine's getting ready for bed. He has his jammies on, and then
little Jim Jams.
Yeah, little Jim Jams. Aww. And Jean Grey comes to tuck him in, and she's like, "Hey, Tucker, how you doing?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm just tired." And then lays down. And she pulls up his covers, but I feel like they want them to be flirting here.
They do.
It doesn't work
every
for
interaction they have is supposed to be flirty. Because when he wakes up again.
Can't wait to see him with my shirt off again, huh?
Oh, God. And she was like, no.
And she's like,
I'm fine.
And he's like, oh, how's the professor?
Yeah.
So the scene, he's like, she's like, oh, I talk, and he's like, it's open minds, and he's like, can you read minds? And she's like, no, the professor can.
But she also says, I don't think I want to, and he's like, oh, afraid you might like what you hear.
Is that what he
said? And she said, no. I was like,
well, he's like, read my mind, and she's like, I don't want to do that. Okay.
And then he says,
let me see it.
Yep. And then he says, you think you'll don't like what you're gonna see? And then she says no, but then she does it.
Yeah, and she does not like what she sees.
No, because it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then she's like, Scott! Because she was doing something wrong, apparently.
Yeah. And then Scott was there. And then Wolverine goes, is this the part you told me to save from your girl? And Scott says, like a gentleman, if I had to do that, she wouldn't be my girl.
Yeah. Which is reasonable. I was like, cool. Yeah.
And he goes,
ahead of your time a little bit here.
You have yourself a wonderful night. I'm going to go to bed. And Wolverine, stay away from my girl. And leaves. Also, fun fact.
So I guess she's not your girl then.
Fun fact about James Marsden and Hugh Jackman.
James Marsden?
Yeah. James Marsden, shorter than Hugh Jackman. Not a big deal. It happens.
James Marsden what?
Shorter than Hugh Jackman.
Oh, okay.
It happens. Don't worry about it, Taylor. So the production crew, for a large part of the movie, wanted James Marsden to be taller than Hugh Jackman. And then they just stopped. So there's scenes where he's like a couple inches on him. And they're just short.
Oh my God.
It's funny.
I have a lot of criticisms about the cinematography and the consistency of this movie as well.
Yeah, like
we'll get to that in one of the last scenes. So.
Oh, good.
It's small, but it's significant.
So he goes to bed, turns off the lights. That's all great. He goes to bed, starts having little night terrors. Right, starts dreaming that he's running.
Yep.
Rogue comes in and is like, "Yo, dude, you're waking up the entire hallway. What up?" Pokes him on his little chest. She's like, "Hey." Bops him a little bit.
Is that why she comes into the room? Because she hears him?
Yeah. Okay. She wakes up, he's like, oh.
Because I just thought she was coming in there for no reason.
Do you know where the water
I thought that was one of the moments where they were like trying to, there was a potential push for...
She wakes up and he's like, no. I
don't know.
He's old man yelling.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he's...
Old man yelling?
He's Valjean yelling.
Old man yeller.
Old man yelling. So So she like wakes him up, and then he wakes up. Shish kebab.
Stabs the heck out of her.
Right through the heckin' chest.
Right through the heckin' chest. Oh my goodness.
So she's like...
I was like, damn, she's dead.
Yeah. All right.
I was like, wow, I thought Rogue was in like more of these. She doesn't even have her white hair. What's going on? Like,
all right. What's up with that?
She's dead.
So then she touches him.
Spoiler alert.
Touches his little face. She's like, don't do that again. Starts draining his power, right?
She's not dead.
Pulls his claws out. She starts healing. Also, his regenerative power fixes the holes in her nightgown. Yeah. In case you're wondering. I
didn't even know. Oh, no.
It's okay, neither did the production crew. So,
they don't notice most things. Freaking.
So then she passes out.
Freaks.
And then he's like, help! Somebody help! So everybody's there, right? And then Bobby's there, and he's like, what are we going to do with that girl? Mm-hmm. And then I think it cuts to the next day where she's like bebopping through school. Bobby comes up and is like, yo, professor's pissed. You got to hightail it out of here.
You got to go.
Yeah. He's like, you just got to go.
And she was like, oh, damn,
and then she's like, oh, shit, I do got to go.
I got to go.
So then she leaves, and then Bobby turns to the camera, winks. When she opens that eye, yellow eyes. It's Mystique.
It's Mystique. Boom.
Good old yellow eyes, right? So then we see her go
I hated that as well.
We see her go down
like,
the
really,
Cerebro,
Rogue?
and like she like, oh no, because we haven't used Cerebro yet. So they go to the professor, and they're like, yo, Rogue's gone. We don't know what's up with that.
Professor X is like, all right, Storm, Cyclops, go find her.
Well, no, because he has to go to Cerebro. Because he's like, Cerebro. The little thing where he puts on the helmet.
Oh, that's what that's called.
Yeah.
That's to find people, right?
Yeah. It like amplifies the telekinesis.
Does it access the metachlorians?
Yeah. Oh, you've read this one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So he reaches out, finds her. They're like, she's at the Chicago train station or wherever he says, and they go down there. He's like, Storm, Cyclops, get on it, right?
Yep.
And then Wolverine's like, what about me? And they're like, Magneto's still looking for you. You got to stay here. They're walking outside. Scott's like, where's my motorcycle?
And then
because obviously this Oakley wearing guy has a motorcycle.
Yep.
Right.
Obviously.
And they cut to Wolverine riding downtown
motorcycle
on a motorcycle, and there's
a
turbo
that was
button.
Scott's motorcycle?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know for a fact it is. His license plate said one eye.
Turbo mode.
So
one eye.
One eye. So he's riding down it, and he sees the button that says turbo on it, and hits it on the worst road to hit a button that says turbo on it. It's like the windy like mountain pass, and he's like, I'm gonna just hit this, see what happens.
It ended up being like straighter than I thought it was. Does the motorcycle just follow the road?
They don't have that technology yet.
No?
Well, I'm sorry.
Lane assist. There's no lane assist
in
the year 2000.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also that part where like, the basketball court.
I've been to the year 2000.
Stop it. There's a part where the basketball court opens up, and then a jet rises up. So maybe it does have lane assist. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it has lane assist.
Yeah. So they get the train. They get the train station, and then Storm goes to the desk to help, or like to ask for help. Like, that's her big move. And she's like, yo, I'm looking for this girl.
I feel
this tall, brown hair.
I'm really mad about Storm in this movie. Like, just don't even have her in the movie if she's not going to do jack shit.
Well, here's the thing. If she had her signature white streak through her hair, I understand. I'm looking for this girl. She's this tall, brown hair, except half inch of white all up ins.
Yeah.
Right? And they'd be like, oh, she's over there with that bag.
Yep.
But no, she's like, I'm looking for a girl this tall, 18, brown hair. What do you mean you don't know where she is? Right? Sabretooth walks up. Oh no, Scott's hanging out in there and then like sees a kid. He's like, yo, and the kid's like, you look like a tool, and walks away.
Is that what? Does the kid say that?
No, but his eyes do.
Oh yeah, me too. That kid is all of us.
And then Toad pops out and like licks off Scott's glasses.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he looks up and just destroys the building.
Oh,
so that was cool.
That was cool.
And then Sabretooth walks up to Storm, and Storm's like, excuse me, sir, I'm in line, quit breathing on my neck. And then she turns around at Sabretooth, and she's like, oh. And then Sabretooth, like, hassles her. And then she's like, I'm going to hit you with lightning because I'm Storm.
Yep.
That's in my name. Like, that's in my job description is hit you with lightning.
Yeah.
Bops him right to lightning.
It's like her middle name, actually.
Yeah. Storm
hit me with
gonna
lightning.
Hit you with lightning.
Storm.
Oloro or whatever it is.
Just Storm twice.
Storm. It's gonna hit your lightning. And then we cut over the train where Wolverine, a much better person, this has already found Rogue.
Yes.
And sits down and he's like, what do you say we give these geeks another chance? And she's like, all right, I'll go see Bobby.
That was so easy.
Yeah. She's like, I can't go back.
Why didn't she just go talk to Wolverine?
He's like, go back.
And was like, hey, I'm going to leave this place because the professor's mad at me.
But what do you say we give these geeks another chance? So then the train starts going. But then Taylor.
Why didn't Mystique just like capture her
when
she was Bobby?
But then Taylor.
Yes, Phil?
The train stops.
I think this movie's lower on my list than I thought it was. I'm getting angrier as we speak.
Train's going, train stop. You know what made that happen?
It couldn't have been Magneto.
It was Magneto.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
It was Magneto.
Holy shit.
Magneto rips the front off the train. He's not there to play around. He levitates in, and Wolverine's like, yo, what up?
Because he needs a great entrance because it's
fight.
Ian McKellen.
And then Ian McKellen's like, yo, he made out of metal. Go over there. Mm-hmm. For the record, that looked painful as hell, by the way. Like, when the claws were out, and he like started spreading them.
Moved his head, moved it back. Like, that was crazy.
Yeah. Oh my god. He's like, does that metal go all the way through your gorgeous body? And he's like, what'd you say? And then he starts like twisting around and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's like, what do you want with me? And he's like, my dear boy, whoever said I wanted you?
Ooh,
and then we're
all like, yeah.
Oh, he's here.
For Rogue. It's almost like that's what they've been saying this whole movie.
The entire movie.
The whole time. Wow. Big plot twist.
Turns out, we'll find this out later because I don't remember how the scenes work, so we're just going to start fast forwarding a little bit.
All right.
We find out because Senator Kelly rolls up to the school and he was like,
yep.
Hey
That's
guys.
right, yeah.
Oh no, so we cut back.
The blubbering mess.
We get Rogue.
Yep.
She goes back. Not willingly, but she ends up in Magneto's clutches.
I don't remember if this is before or after this scene, but
anyways,
Senator Kelly is in the jail.
He's in the tower. Last rose petal falls. He has not found love yet, right? So he walks up to the bars and puts his face on it, and then we find out that he has the worst superpower.
Yeah.
He just whenever he touches
he's
anything.
blobfish.
Yeah. So he puts his face on the bars and like falls through it because we were all kids. We all mess around with banisters and your head would fall through and you're like, I don't know what to do now.
Freaking stuck forever. Because it's like the light bulb in your mouth. Like you can go in one way, but you can't go back out.
Don't try that. Don't try that at
no.
home. Don't think you're better than us. You can't do that. So then he starts messing with it, and he blubs all the way out. And we're like, oh no, he's dead. Camera pans down. He's still hanging on. Magneto and Sabretooth roll up. Where's Kelly at? Is his power invisibility? No, it is not. It's blubfish. So Magneto like flicks the wall out. Sabretooth reaches down and like grabs him, slips right out of his face.
Here's my question. Why could he hold on to the ledge, but he couldn't hold on to this other person's hand?
Because he didn't want to.
Oh.
Yep. So then Sabretooth reaches down and grabs just his sleeve. So he wanted to fall down. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have. If Sabretooth grabbed you, I'd be like, yeah, I'm done.
I guess. But why? I don't know. Sure. All right.
So then Sabretooth drops it, and he stands back up, and he looks at Ian McKellen, and Ian McKellen's like, where's the guy? And he's like,
holds up his shirt, his empty shirt.
Yeah. So then he starts leaving, and Sabretooth follows. Nope. Gets stuck in there.
That was pretty good. I liked that.
He's like, listen, there's a pedal over there. Last one falls.
But then nothing, he like lets him out later.
Yeah.
He lets Sabretooth out. It's just like it's a timeout pen.
Yeah. It's like, listen, you got 5 minutes in the corner. All right. Yeah. Leave Daddy alone for a minute. Dad's going to read his books.
So then fast forward to a beach party.
Oh, yeah.
Stan Lee is hosting a beach party.
Tommy, let it go. I'm telling Mom. I'm telling Mommy.
What was he poking?
A jellyfish.
Oh, that was so
much
sad.
Like.
That was I saw like I thought it might have been a jellyfish, but I was like, are we really doing like a weird metaphor for
jellyfish?
Senator Kelly?
Getting prodded, right? Senator Kelly walks up.
Jellyfish.
Guess what? All these people traumatized, right? And here's the other thing too.
It's true.
We'll get back to this later. He's on TV later, and he was like, "These mutants are, an outrage," and starts walking out.
Yeah.
Nobody was like, "Hey, we just saw Senator Kelly walk out of a beach and then blubfish around." It's messed up.
What?
It's messed up.
It was really gross.
So, it was disgusting. Yeah. So
it was real gross.
He walks past our Stan Lee cameo, and even Stan Lee's like, "This is the part I'm at."
It's so funny. Also, after this movie, I watched like a compilation of Stan Lee cameos.
I respect that.
And during this time, They were so much more subtle.
Yeah.
Than they are like. In
Spider-Man movies. 1 and 2, he just like saves a random kid.
Yeah, he's like in very like momentarily.
Yeah.
And then in like Amazing Spider-Man, he's like the guy with his headphones
he's cleaning
on.
With the headphones on, the desk is surrounded up. Yeah. It's just look, we're doing Stanley.
He was also Hugh Hefner in one of them. That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny.
What up, Hugh?
And Larry King.
Yep.
That was good. Anyway, just thought that was an interesting little tidbit.
It is an interesting tidbit.
He just got more involved, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And then it made me sad.
Yeah.
But
the opening to Captain Marvel with the little flips of him.
Mm-hmm.
It was so.
Oh God!
Legit shed a tear for that.
I was really emotional.
So we cut back to the expansion. Storm and Cyclops are there after having done nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, why didn't Magneto like tie the claws?
They what?
Like, why didn't Magneto like tie the claws in like a knot?
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
You know what I mean?
He only he twisted them.
Yeah, well, he like pulled them
and then
apart.
Twisted them back.
Yeah, and he was like, "Here, let me fix it for you."
Yeah, like...
That's how you take that guy out of the game.
Villains are bad.
Yes, I should be a villain.
Phil, has anyone ever told you?
a couple times. So we everyone's at the mansion. Everyone sucked, and Xavier is like, "Listen, I'm gonna go use Cerebro." And then he looks at the camera and he says, "Phil, Taylor, this we forgot to mention. While Mystique Bobby was in here, she messed with Cerebro." Yeah, remember the little ecto coolers,
no.
the Ghostbusters High C?
No.
Oh, it was a little green juice box. Put that in the Cerebro.
What did that do?
What's that?
I don't remember. What did that do?
Remember, eventually he goes to find somebody and like it short circuits and like knocks him out or something.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's in the movie.
It gets like unnecessarily convoluted at certain points.
So that happens eventually. Oh, they try to find Rogue again to see if they can find her. So he's like, "I'll go use Cerebro again because that worked last time."
Mm-hmm.
Gets knocked out, and then like, "Jean, can you use it?" And she's like, "Not after that."
But then she tries later.
Yeah, well, because she fixes it because she takes out the ecto cooler.
Oh yeah, and then she can't do it anyway because she sucks.
No, she did it, didn't she? She's like the Statue of Liberty.
But she passed out.
Well, yeah, because she sucks.
Yeah. But she did find it, I guess. Not totally suck.
At some point, the door gets knocked down, Storm opens it, and she's like, "We're not buying anything." And then she's like, "Oh, Senator Kelly." And he's like, "Hey, I need Dr. Jean Grey." And then he's like, flaps, falls on the floor, right? He blub.
He blobfishes all. So he blobs all over the place.
Put him downstairs in the infirmary, and eventually he ends up blowing up on Storm, which, poor girl. Because that's something you gotta live with.
That was actually pretty sad when he. So at first I thought Storm was Mystique in that scene when she walked in. I thought she was gonna mess stuff up, but she wasn't. And he was like, "I don't want to be alone." I was like, "That's pretty sad."
Yeah,
that's pretty cute.
And Storm was like,
"I like that."
Did you know
scene.
People like you are the reason I didn't go to school as a child?
I liked that dialogue where it was like, "Are you afraid of?" Or like, do you just like normal people? And she was like, sometimes.
Yeah.
And he was like, why? And he's like, I suppose it's because I'm afraid of you.
Yeah.
And I liked that.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you have one less person to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was heartfelt. And then it wasn't.
Yeah. She goes back and she's like, this guy just blew up. It's crazy.
Yeah. Senator Kelly is dead.
Oh, yeah. There was that part where Patrick Stewart read his mind to see the scenes from his perspective, and he saw that Magneto came down, radiation made him all tired, but he also knows his plan, right? Fast forward through some scenes I know that we're missing, where they find out they're going to Statue of Liberty.
Yep.
Go to Statue of Liberty, because Ellis Island, I think it's called, there's a UN meeting there.
Did we skip the Homo sapiens scene?
I don't know where that was said. I remember it happened, but I don't remember what was going on with it.
Oh, it was right after they stole Rogue, because... Isn't it because they had her like in a bag and then Patrick Stewart was like, "What do you want with her?" That was in his mind.
Was that the train station?
I think that was right after the train station.
Okay, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that scene too. Yeah, there was a train station. Mm-hmm. Okay, first off, that cop that took the bullet like halfway into the head, trooper.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Also, when they took the bullet away, there was no mark. Just saying.
I was looking for it. I was like, what? Okay.
Also, there's that part where like
that was great. That was pretty intense. Actually.
Sabretooth is like randomly like, "Let her go, Eric," and then Magneto's like, "Yo, Pat, stop it!" Right? And then Sabretooth grabs Magneto's throat. At this point, Magneto flips all the guns around, points them at the people, rip out his throat.
Well, that was the whole thing where he was like,
I can't stop them all.
You have to kill me.
Yeah.
And then
do it.
He didn't because it's his ex-boyfriend.
All right, Sabretooth reach up, knock off his helmet.
Well, it's the whole like, I loved him. It's like the Dumbledore Grindelwald thing. I can't fight him because I loved him.
That's true.
Because I 100% believe that was their dynamic.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. So, yeah, so there's that train station
that
thing.
was like, even if they were like best friends, that was like supposed to be the whole thing. It's against my moral compass to kill anyone. And blah, blah. I assume that's Professor X's thing.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So where's your Homo sapiens line?
I don't remember what the rest of it was, but he was just like,
Homo sapiens.
You Homo sapiens are so... Blah, blah.
He did, yeah. And then bloodfish.
But that was the Homo sapiens line, and I cringed really hard.
Yeah, that's
but I'll never forget it.
Yep. So we moved to Statue of Liberty. There's that part where they get the jet, and then he's like, what if they have radar? And then Cyclops is like, if they can detect our jet, they deserve to catch us. And it's
my God.
Still a valid question, though.
Yeah.
I still don't want to get caught.
I was like, maybe they do deserve to, but you should probably still try to not have that.
There's that little line where he's like, black leather, and then Cyclops is like, what'd you want, yellow spandex? Which is a hint. Little reference to the yellow spandex from the comics.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because we're funny screenwriters. So we get to Statue of Liberty, and then he's like, Storm, give us some covers, because apparently a 10 by 10 like block of mist is inconspicuous.
Yeah,
because she just puts mist around them.
Why and then even Magneto's like, whole...
yeah, or just not, because even Magneto's like, well, we got company. Going to the Statue of Liberty, they're walking, and eventually, they pass the little Statue of Liberty inside the Statue of Liberty, right? Little standing up, and it's Mystique, who has turned herself into an inanimate object.
Ah, this is the sprinkles of.
Yes,
I see.
What?
I wonder how consistent her powers were in the comics.
I'm not sure, but I imagine more consistent than this.
It might not be.
No.
I don't know. I'm curious. I'll look into it before our next review.
Please do.
Without any spoilers.
Specifically, look into it before we get to Days of Future Past.
Okay.
So you got time. Okay, so we get into there. We pass her. She's a Statue of Liberty for some reason. She's also a smaller version. Like, she's like the little stand-up little statue.
Uh-huh.
So, like, she's maybe 4 feet tall. So she's, like, changed everything about her. We get to... I forget how it happens. Eventually, she comes up as another Wolverine, and, like, the two of them start fighting, and they go into a different area. Toad comes out and instantly takes Scott out of the fight. With, like, a little, like, drop kick.
Yep.
He's gone. He shuts the door. And then a woman who can control weather and a telekinetic, like, take a long time to dispatch Toad. A long time.
I also appreciated when she, like, froze him in front of, like, had him levitating, and then he, like, spat in her face, like, puked out his stomach at her, because that's what frogs do.
Yeah. It was disgusting. I felt so bad for her.
Yep.
I was like, I would have just let that kill me.
I was like, what? Could she not fling him, like, back or something?
I don't know.
She sucks.
Know. But later on, they want her to hold Wolverine steady when she starts flying him.
Sure.
So cutting into the Wolverine part, Wolverine v. Wolverine, she has the claws out, and they're, like, fighting with him. So there's, like, the clink, 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 right there, handing each other the claws. And then he goes to hit her, she puts it up, and then he cuts off her claws.
Yep.
What did he just cut?
Her body parts.
Why didn't that hurt or bleed?
She has regenerative powers too.
Does she?
I don't know.
Does she?
Oh no.
And then later on she throws a chain fence at him, and he cuts through it and, like, hits her. And then she goes upside down inverts and climbs up a wall by her hands, because now she has stickum powers also.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Cut back. Storm gets thrown through an elevator. And then later on comes back up, and Toad's like, why won't you people die? And then she's like, do you know what happens to a toad that gets struck by lightning? Same thing that happens to everything else. And then hits it with lightning. And he dies. I mean, that happens, but that's how we chose to bring that up. They get to the
Storm
top of the
deserved better.
Hashtag justice for Storm. We get to the top of the Statue of Liberty, they go on the torch, and then Wolverine's like, oh crap, be careful.
I'd like you to know that my notes for this whole section, I'm sorry, first is LMAO at the double Wolverine battle. Yeah. Because I was just so amused.
Yeah.
And then bored.
Yep.
I was just so bored. And I didn't have anything till the Sabretooth death.
That's fair. So they get up to the top of the statue, and then Wolverine's like, "Oh crap, guys, don't drop your guard." And they're like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because I can't move."
Oh,
which means.
And then they all.
Magneto's around, and then Magneto just dispatches all of them because he's a very powerful mutant. That's not. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I was like, he could literally murder these people right now. Why doesn't he?
Because he's not about that. He doesn't want to kill other mutants. He wants to kill
Except he was like, I have to kill Rogue to sacrifice you for the cause.
Which we'll get to.
Okay.
So then everyone's pinned up. And then Scott didn't learn his lesson and put a headband on his glasses so those get taken.
Yep.
Sabretooth comes down and he's like standing guard. And then Wolverine cuts into himself to like break the thing that's holding him, falls to the ground, and everyone's like, well, that was Wolverine. And then he stands back up because he has regenerative powers because he's Wolverine, obviously. And he starts fighting Sabretooth, and there's that awesome scene where he gets thrown off, catches it, and then swings back around, and then lands gracefully.
I laughed so hard when Sabretooth died.
Yeah.
So he just got how did that happen? Flung off of the head of the Statue of Liberty. I just remember him getting, like, blown away.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so it was they got back in the Statue of Liberty somehow. And then Jean telekinetic the goggles up in front of Scott. She was like, open your eyes. And he was like, all right. Shoots, beams out, hits Sabretooth.
That's what it was. Yep.
Shoots him off the building.
That whole bit was fucking hilarious.
So then we look up Rogue is in the torch. Right? Because Magneto gave her his powers. Here's my big thing.
Yeah.
The machine gives off radiation. And that's what was killing Magneto when he first tried to use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rogue touching you and taking your power or your life essence, whatever you want to call it, hurts a bit. At least enough for a quick little smooch to put you in the hospital for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Why did he stay up there after he hit Rogue?
Because that was the whole point, was to not be in the radiation to be dying.
Because I feel like at that point you could have just not used Rogue, saved yourself a bunch of trouble. Nobody would know this was happening. Because like nobody was aware that Magneto was moving this plan forward until they were like, oh, he took Rogue. Let's find Rogue.
Villains are bad.
Well, because I feel like he should have died. So then anyway, okay, so we see what is it? Cyclops is like, I have a shot, and they're like, don't take it, you might hit her.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't do it. And he's like, I'm going to take it.
And then he's like, Storm, throw me up there. And then she's like, that's not how it works.
Toss me.
Toss me. And then Wolverine's like, then toss me. And she's like, all right. And then Scott's like, Jean, hold him steady. And she's like, I just had a problem lifting a syringe like 2 days ago. And also, Toad, I gave him a lot of time just looking at my face. And then you saw what happened there.
But then she was like, sure.
And she's like, yeah, I got this. Tosses Wolverine. Yep. He barely makes it. He goes to swing down and Magneto's like, I can still control you.
Yep.
And then Wolverine's like, crap.
Yep.
I'm stuck, I guess.
But then he gets the shot. Cyclops takes the shot after that, right? Yeah. And then Magneto...
Even though no variables have changed.
Nope.
Scott just takes a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets it.
And he like wings him. And Magneto's like, That entire scene... Like, the way that all looked was not good.
No.
It looked like he was in front of, like, a PlayStation 1 cinematic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So so then Wolverine, like, cuts the straps on her little arms, and then she falls off, but she's dying. So he like puts her on his face.
Yeah,
and then
holds her, and then she's not like
we
coming
start
back.
seeing all of his stuff come back. All of his wounds start unhealing. Blood starts coming out of holes that are there now because something starts.
It was like on the side and stuff too, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Well, nothing like. There weren't any holes in his costume, so like it's just all started like coming out of his little feet or his neck. I thought. So we get to a point where. Is it just how that ends? Like, do they talk about how they get back to the school or anything?
I think that like cop cars come up.
He dies.
Who? What?
Wolverine dies. Technically, I mean, not like forever. Just.
Oh.
Yeah,
just like briefly dies. Yeah, so then I think we see like helicopters or something coming up, and then the police detain Magneto, right? And
because there's the plastic cell later.
And then is that when we get like the TV clip of Senator Kelly?
Well, that's after we get back to school. Oh, so maybe we just wake up with Wolverine because he's like, "Good, would you give me my shirt off again, huh?" And she's like, "What?"
Oh yeah. And then he says, "How's the professor?"
Yeah.
That's
no, because she's like, there's something where he says something like, "Had to get back to my girl." He says something weird like, "Had to get back to you," and she's like, "We can't."
Oh.
And he was like, "How's the professor?"
So he said, that's the line when she is like, She says, "I think that girl's got like a thing for you."
Yeah, I only have eyes for you.
And then he says, "I only have my heart. There's only room for one girl in my heart."
Yeah, it's something. Yeah,
or something like stupid. Yeah. And then she's like,
"We can't." And he says, "How's the professor?"
She doesn't say we can't. She says, "You and I ... And then he says, "How's the professor?"
That's what it is. Okay.
And then we see the professor.
Yeah, the professor's like, "Oh, he's fine." Yeah.
Patrick Stewart's hairy little chest is everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
It's all over the place. You open up your sock drawer.
And then does he wake up right there or something?
Something, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna rapid fire these last parts.
Yeah.
So they wake up.
Oh,
he gets up better. They later on, he's up and about in a wheelchair. That was the wrong way to word that. He. He's like, "Oh, we found a place up in Alkali Lake. Might want to go check that out for some parts of your past." And then he's like, "Are you gonna say goodbye to her?" And he's like, "Nah, she's a good kid. She'll be all right." And then he walks right past the little foosball table.
Yep.
And then she's like, "Dude,
where you going, man?
Where you going?" Runs after him. She starts talking to him. Has a little piece of hair in her mouth.
God! Why? This is what I'm talking about. There's just a shot of her running up to him, and her hair gets caught in her lipstick, and it's just in her mouth, and it's the only thing I could see that whole clip.
But then it goes away from her, comes back, it's gone.
Nobody's seen that. Nobody saw that when they were in post.
We just had the one take.
Nobody saw that in post. That was just it. That was
It wasn't even like, oh, cute, quirky. She was so excited it's gonna be the entire time. It was fixed like seconds later.
I hate this movie. 3 out of 10.
And then we cut over to Storm watching TV. Something about Senator Kelly, right?
Senator Kelly's talking, and we're like, "What the hell? Didn't he die? What's
and then
going
he
on?"
walks off screen and she pauses it.
Yep.
Yellow eyes.
Yep.
It's Mystique.
Yep.
She presses play. He keeps yellow eyes for like 4 to 5 seconds.
No, it's just a flash. I think he like rewinds or something.
No, because he keeps walking and he has them for a minute and like blinks them out.
But nobody notices that.
Nobody notices it.
Yeah, it's just the mutants.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nobody on CNN was like, hold up.
It was just a glitch.
Yeah.
Glitch is a glitch.
I guess.
It's fine. And then it goes to Patrick Stewart gonna go hang out with his boyfriend.
Oh yeah, they're playing chess. It's super
he's
awesome.
gonna go hang out with his boyfriend in jail, and they're playing chess.
Yeah.
And I don't know, something probably happens.
He's like, the war's still coming, Charles. And he's like, I'll be here to fight you when it does.
Yep. And it was solid.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good conclusion without any like presumptions towards sequels and stuff like that. It was good. Yeah. It was a solid.
And then credits roll.
Ending. And then credits.
There's no after credit scene. Because that wasn't a thing yet.
I didn't even check, so I'm glad there wasn't.
Gotcha.
So my little post notes were God, the stupid love triangle is so pointless. It is so unneeded. There's no development of it, and I hate it. And it might be one of my least favorite parts of this whole movie.
So my thing is like, they don't tell us why Jean and Scott are good together. They don't tell us why they ever got together in the first place.
No.
There's
I don't care about their relationship.
There's a thing called X-Men Year One, which I'm gonna have you borrow because it's phenomenal.
Okay.
And it follows Jean Grey through her first like bit at Xavier School.
Okay.
And there's this cool thing where like,
so is it gonna be like Apocalypse where it's Jean's first year?
Maybe I haven't seen Apocalypse.
Oh, that's right.
But I think, I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
I mean, when we get there, I'll tell you if it's close or not. And then like that's when she falls in love with Cyclops and gets all cute because like he's questioning himself as a leader because of like a love triangle that's going on, and she's like, no, it's you. So you need to like lead us out of this so that way we can be together, kind of thing, right? And it's super cute.
Okay.
But in this one, it's like, oh, we're married, maybe. Are they married? Are they together? I don't know what it is.
I didn't notice if there was like a ring or anything.
Because I ain't seen no ring on that finger, but everyone's acting like there's a ring on that finger.
I mean, they were probably still like a committed relationship. I don't think marriage.
Maybe they can't get married because they're mutants. Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? So that's my main issue with this whole movie, is that I don't care about anyone or their relationships. The closest I got was Rogue and Wolverine, but there was not enough development in that.
See, I loved Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Wolverine and Rogue in this movie. I thought they were very cute together. I think there was a time where I actually wrote in my notes like, oh, it's really whatever. And because I know what it represents, I really, really like Magneto and Xavier.
I do. I love their relationship, but there wasn't enough of that for.
There needs to be more of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They were the highlight of the movie for me.
Yeah.
And they were
Plus,
in
like
5
old
minutes
guys
together.
on opposite sides of a war playing chess is like one of my favorite cinematic things. So at the end there, I was like,
Kingdom Hearts 3. Boom.
Does that happen in Kingdom Hearts 3?
It does.
Okay.
Actually.
I trust you.
Yeah, I'll show you later.
Or,
It's pretty bad, so. But that part's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But, I mean, I don't hate a lot of the casting choices. I just hate how they were handled.
I think the writing was the weakest part.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Like, the casting was fine, but I think the cast wasn't given enough good quality material to work with.
Sure.
And, like, I care so much about characters and how they interact and their relationship with each other and with the story. And it was so sparse with everyone.
See, my big thing is I felt like this was a treatment of a treatment of a treatment of somebody else's screenplay. If that makes sense. Like, I feel like it was like 4 layers down from someone's original vision. So they just turned everybody into one-dimensional, oh, that's what they represent kind of things. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it felt like.
It's almost like it just relies too much on the comic characterizations.
Well, no, because even the stuff where, like, you'd think that would help, it doesn't really stay faithful enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know. I'm just, as someone who hasn't read the comics and is just watching this movie straight, I keep hitting the mic.
Yeah.
I would assume that they're relying on the comic readers.
Sure.
And the characterization of these people in the comics to lend itself to the film.
Sure.
But it's not.
And I mean, we're right now in the year 2000. We're at a weird spot with comic book movies where nobody's taking them seriously because they're for kids, and people want to change that, but also be open to people that haven't read all the comics.
That's a really good point.
You know what I mean?
This was made. This is the beginning.
Yeah, and this gets into a weird spot where it's like we want something for people who have read the comics, but not everything.
That's fair.
Can be delivered. You know? So like it gets to a really weird spot, but like a lot of it just doesn't fire for me. You know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that, but this really was like the beginning of the comic movie era, essentially.
This was definitely towards the end of what comics were, or comic book movies were, because we had a lot of like movies, like there was like Shaq and Steel and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so, like, there was a lot of like, oh,
but this is like the
movies.
big. I feel like
this
X-Men
was definitely
a
turning point towards what Marvel became.
X-Men was like the turning point, right? It was like when people started taking it seriously. Yeah, I think.
Also, fun fact: this is not related to your review at all, so I'm sorry that I'm just gonna throw this in here, but it's
okay.
why it's on me. At this point when they were filming this, the Spider-Man movie for Sam Raimi had been announced, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a scene in the Statue of Liberty. It's like a little blooper that was an Easter egg on the DVD that Phil had and watched the fuck out of.
Oh, okay.
But there was a Easter egg on the DVD. Where it was like a little outtake, and it was the scene. elevator doors were opening. I don't remember what it was for, but the whole X-Men group was there. That was at the Statue of Liberty. And they were like, all right, that was good. We're going to do one more, then break for lunch. Right? And they did it. And then behind them, a guy in a Spider-Man outfit ran out. And then everyone was like, it's
oh
great.
my gosh.
Yeah, and they broke. Also, in 2002, Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman was going to have a cameo as Wolverine.
Really?
But they didn't have rights to his outfits. Or they couldn't locate it. So they flew him out to New York and they're like, we can't shoot it.
No. Oh no.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he have just been in it without the Wolverine costume?
What's his costume? It's jeans and a leather jacket.
What the hell? That's stupid. What a waste.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm done with Spider-Man trivia now.
All right.
So my big thing with this movie though was each scene almost got there. You know what I mean? And the ones that were...
It was so close.
The ones that were good were where they actually let the characters just kind of be. Because Wolverine and Rogue in the bedroom was amazing.
Yeah.
Wolverine's introduction was amazing. Patrick and Ian, when they were alone, amazing.
Yeah.
But we didn't get enough of those moments for each character. Mm-mm. If we had ever... for example, after he's like, stay away from my girl. We follow Scott back to their room. And Jean's like, you don't have anything to be jealous of. And he's like, I know. Yeah, and then they have a little conversation. If they did anything there, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But we never see them be alone. We never see them together. You know what I mean? We just know, they're together. We gotta respect that. And
I wish they had just cut certain things to give more attention to different.
Sure.
Yeah, cut those little moments of stupid love triangle because have a sprinkle of it if you want to include that the next movie or something.
Sure.
But if you're not gonna have it go anywhere. Or have any sort of development for it, because they had no chemistry to me, and it was just terrible.
Yeah.
Then just cut that out and give more attention to other aspects. Yeah. And, God, just cut Storm out. Because there was no reason for her to be there.
Right.
Which makes me really sad because, I think she's a great character, but she speaks... Her lines could have been spoken by anyone.
Right.
And she was unimportant for probably, 98% of the film.
Right.
Just don't have her in it. Don't have her in it.
Yeah, and I mean,
everything should have a purpose in your film.
Right.
And it doesn't.
And it's also stuff where if we had set them up as a relationship in the school together, specifically still talking about Scott and Jean, because that's going to be my big thing for the first few movies. Does
it not get any better?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
But if they had started love triangle stuff in 2, you know what I mean? Uh-huh. But this was us seeing those two together, and then, a little bit hint of that, like you were saying, a little hint of the love triangle. That'd be way different.
Yeah.
But because it was just, boom, triangle. It's
forced.
Why? I don't care about any corner of this triangle.
Totally
you know
pushed.
I mean? So that kind of gets you. There's a lot forced about it, and there's a lot that doesn't really pay off. But at the same time, the stuff that I think works really well.
Yeah.
I
would love
there's definitely a severe drought of stuff that works well, but the stuff that does, I love.
I would love for the sequel to be them improving on that and finding what worked and doing more of that.
Sure.
So I hope that's what I'm going to do.
Sure.
I hope that's what the second one is. I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
So, final ratings?
Final ratings.
This whole review makes me want to lower my rating.
I know.
So my original rating was 5 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10.
Sure.
Now I want it to be 3 or 4. But I'll keep it at 5.
Okay.
What is yours?
See, I was going to put it a 7.
Okay.
But that's also because I feel like IGN reviewing a game because it's every game is between 5 and 10. You know what I mean? So that's always weird for me. If we 1 to 5 stars, I'd say probably 2.5.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I'd give it a C plus.
Yeah, I probably would have thought 3 stars, but just now talking over the plot, I forgot there was a lot in the middle there where I was like, this adds nothing.
That's the thing is when we got into the grit of it, I realized how many other issues I had.
And I mean, there was that scene where Patrick Stewart got the memories of Senator Kelly, and we just watched that same scene again.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it goes on 30 seconds longer. But we could just flash. Oh, he understands it now. You know what I mean? It could have been as simple as that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a start. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where I know the sequel could either be like, oh, okay, or, oh yeah, this isn't going anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? I understand that this is a movie where it sets it up for the sequel to be make or break. I understand why it got a sequel. I understand why it brought in $300 million. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where I'm like, if we'll have to see how the sequel does to see if this goes anywhere.
And I'm curious to see what people thought of it when it came out at the time too.
Sure.
So I think I'm going to look into that a little bit for our next thing too, to see how it was received.
Like critical reception?
Yep, critical reception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So. The standings right now for the X-Men universe, where would you place this?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. So considering everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it at a number 1.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah. How about you?
It's a little high for me. I was thinking down towards number 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Considering we have one movie to go through, right? Yeah.
All right. So right now, as it stands, the X-Men universe is number 1.
Number 1.
X-Men 2000.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us and talking about the first X-Men.
Yes,
1?
We did it. 1?
X-Men 1?
2000?
2000? Pokemon 2000? All right. Of the 2000 movies.
Oh, number 8.
Pokemon 2000 is number 1 for sure.
Yeah, of course.
So, I hope you enjoyed your time with us ranting and raving.
And if you didn't, I'm so sorry, but thanks for getting this far.
Yeah, you got really far. I'm super proud of you. Yeah. This is Taylor.
This is Phil.
And this has been Homebrew with the Movies.
It's true. If you had any fun here, you can check out our YouTube channel for gameplay with our other friends. I think right now you and Eric are doing Deltarune, and then me and Morgan are doing Don't Knock Twice.
Mm-hmm. Expect those coming up. And if you liked it, I don't know how podcasts work. Like and love and comment.
If you don't
subscribe.
mind. Yeah.
Is that how that works with podcasts?
Sure.
I don't know. I don't do this very often. All right. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.